All right, so we're going to, excuse me, look at solving proportions today. So a proportion is specifically when there's one fraction on either side of the equal sign, and that's it. You will see that we are using the method of cross multiplication in order to solve these problems here. Okay, so if I look at number one, I'm crisscrossing, so I want to take numbers that are opposite each other and cross multiply here. So 5 times 6 is 30. Bring my equal sign down to the middle. X times 2 is 2x. And then just solve what's left. So divide by 2, and x equals 15. Okay, so nice and simple. Let's look at one that's a little more complicated. Looking at number 2. All right, so the complication comes when we have to multiply a number times an expression. So what we want to make sure to do is make sure that 10 gets multiplied by everything. So I'm just going to write down 10 times b plus 5. And if we write it down that way, that reminds us that we need to make sure and distribute. So when I distribute, 10 times b is 10b, 10 times 5 is plus 50, and then on the other side, 7 times 5 is 35. That's the easy one. So then I just have an expression that I need to solve here, an equation I need to solve. So remember opposite operations when I go opposite sides of the equal sign. So I want to subtract 50. I have 10b equals negative 15, divide by 10, and we end up with b equals negative 3 over 2, or you could call that negative 1.5 if you want to use the decimal version. So that's how we cross multiply when we have an expression just like that. Okay, let's look at number 3. Okay, so if I'm cross multiplying this way, I need to do my distribution, right? So I have 8 times m plus 7. So 8 times m is 8m. 8 times 7 is plus 56. Cross the other way, and I have m times 9. That's just 9m. All right, so when I'm doing my opposite operations here, I got to make sure that I realize I have variables on both sides. All right, so again, I'm doing my opposite operation. I want to bring all the variables to the same side. So I'm going to subtract 8m, bring it over here to the right. So on the left-hand side, I'm left with 56. On the right side, 9m minus 8m leaves me with a single m, so m equals 56. All right, so go ahead and do the 2 try these problems down at the bottom. You can pause the video, do the try these problems, and then go ahead and play the video when you're ready for me to go through them. All right, so number 5 here, cross multiply y times 4 is 4y. Cross multiply this way, 8 times 9 is 72. Divide by 4, and that's going to give me y equals 32. Okay. Then number 6 over here, cross multiply this way, and I'm doing my distribution, 4 times x minus 1. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Cross the other way, 6 times 8 is 48. And then let's solve using, using my opposite operation. So I add 4x equals 52. Divide by 4, and that would be what, 13, I believe. Yeah, 13. Okay. So that is basic cross multiplication. Let's go to the back page. All right, so let's go ahead and look at just a word problem here. So generally, when we see a word problem that's comparing, when there's kind of 2 numbers that go together and then I'm trying to figure out something from the other one, it's easiest to set up a proportion. It doesn't really matter what goes on top and what goes on bottom, you just have to stay consistent. So I generally like to do it like I read it. So since we have 36 pencils in 6 boxes, I like to do 36 pencils per 6 boxes. I just like to do it like I read it, okay? But then I got to make sure. So pencils are on top, boxes are on bottom. So how many pencils, so my x is going to go where the pencil should go, and then I have 10 boxes on bottom. Okay, then I have a proportion to solve from there. So cross multiply this way, you got 6x. Cross multiply this way, you got 360. That didn't come out very well. Divide by 6. And we end up with x equals 60 pencils. Okay, so 60 pencils per 10 boxes. All right, so go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and try this number 10, and then you can play when you're ready for me. All right, so we have 2 tickets for $15. So I have tickets on top, money on bottom. See, this says how much does it cost? So that means my variable is going to go down here where the money is to buy 7 tickets. So that's a little tricky there. It kind of flip-flops the sentence the second time around, but you just got to make sure we got tickets on top, money on bottom. So then when the sentence flip-flops in the second one, I put it the same way. Okay, so now I cross multiply. Let's see, 7 times 15, would that be 30, 60, 90, 105 equals, cross this way, 2x. So then I divide by 2, and I end up with x equals, what would that be, 52.50? Okay, so $52.50 for 7 tickets. And that is your lesson on proportions.